So first what I did was I drew on the arms and the legs onto the ball, as you can see. And I ended up using a different pen just so then they would be a little bit more visible. And you also want to draw a circle at the back for the tail. And you want to draw it quite low, as you can see. And I'm just using these images here as reference. And by the way, if you do not have a squishy football like this one, then I do have a video on how to cut a ball out of memory foam, so I will link that in the description box below. So now moving on to the next step. So next what I did was I started cutting off the pattern using my scissors, and I just tried to make it as smooth as possible. And it wasn't easy because, as you can see, the shape does still look a little bit rough because the foam is really squishy, so it's not the most easiest thing to cut, but I'm trying my best. And you want to make sure to cut around the arms and the legs so that they look a little bit more 3D. So you just want to cut around the pen lines that you drew. And you also want to do the same thing for the tail, so again you just want to go around the pen lines like so. And again you just want to continue just to cut off the pattern and just make it as smooth as possible. And you also want to cut off the pattern on the tail as well. So you just want to make small snips with your scissors. So I'm just going to finish this. So here it is once I've finished cutting off the football pattern. And again you just want to make it as smooth as possible using your scissors. And I know mine still looks a little bit rough, but that's okay. And as you can see, I smoothed off the arms and the legs. And you also want to do the same thing for the tail. And by the way, if you find this too difficult, then you can just make the arms, legs and the tail separately and then just glue them onto the ball. So you do not have to make it all one piece. And then what you want to do is you just want to flatten off the bottom of the squishy just very slightly using your scissors. So now on to the next step. So next what you want to do is you want to take another piece of foam and you want to draw two small triangle shapes for the ears. And then you just want to cut them out using your scissors. And then what I did was I just smoothed off the back of the ear using my scissors, so that it looks a little bit more curved. So you just want to make curved cuts on the back of the ear like so. And make sure that both ears are the same size, obviously. And you also want to make curved cuts at the bottom as well. And you just want to keep doing that until it looks like this. So I'm just going to finish this. So once you've finished shaping the ears, next what you want to do is you want to glue them onto the ball. And I just used some of this all-purpose glue to stick on the ears. And then I just made them a little bit smaller using my scissors. And by the way, one thing I think I forgot to mention is you also want to smooth off the edges of the ears as well. So that they look a little bit smoother. And then what I did was I just drew an outline of the face using a pen. So you just want to draw it all the way around the squishy. And then you just want to draw a curve at the top. And again, I've just used these images here as reference. And then once you've done that, we can finally start painting it. So next what I did was I painted the front of the squishy using my white paint. And then what I did was I mixed some of this pastel pink paint with some of this white paint, and I painted the rest of the squishy, including the ears. And then what I did was I just mixed in a little bit of dark pink puffy paint, and I painted a stripe going around the back of the hamster's body. And I also painted over the tail as well. And you want to make sure that it stops about halfway. So you just want to leave a small gap in the middle, like this. And again, I'm just using these images here as reference. So now you want to let this dry, and then we can move on to the next step. So next what I did was I painted on the face using my brown and white puffy paint. And I just used a dotting tool and a thin paintbrush for the highlights in the eyes and also the stars as well. And then I also used brown puffy paint for the mouth, and then I used light pink puffy paint for the tongue. At least I think that's the tongue, I'm not really sure. And then I used dark pink puffy paint for the blush. And again I used my white puffy paint to paint a dot in the centre of the blush or the cheeks. And I'm really happy with how the face turned out. I think it's so cute. And again, I'm just using these images here as reference. And you just want to place it inside a cup so it can dry. So now we want to let this dry, and then we can move on to the next step. So next what I did was I painted the inside of the ears using my dark pink puffy paint. And then I just used my light pink puffy paint to paint 2 lines onto the ears to make the fluff. And then lastly what I did was I just used my brown puffy paint to paint a small cross on the bottom of the squishy. And then you just want to let that dry, and then once you've done that, your squishy is finished. And I'm really happy with how this turned out. And it is very slow rising, as you can see. And I'm really happy with how the face turned out. And by the way, you can make whatever design you want for yours. So you can just look up images of the squishy and then decide what colour you want to make for yours. And also you can paint on whatever face you want. So, yep, you do not have to make the exact same design that I did. So, yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And as always, please feel free to request any more squishy tutorials you would like me to do in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. Bye bye!